Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. This story is about, what if Naruto was trained by a deadman? If you enjoy watching my videos, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to never miss out when I post videos. Let me know down in the comments if you want more parts of this series. If you have any suggestions to how I can improve my videos, then comment down below. Also, I have noticed that only 25% of you guys have subscribed to my channel, so help me reach 2000 by the end of 2023. With all that said, let's start the video. Naruto, the Crow of Konoha. Chapter 7, Chunin Exams Begin. Tag Gala Battle Royal. Previously. This boy will be the strongest opponent Konoha will ever be able to throw at anyone. I'm talking about S rank by 18. He has 4 blades he shouldn't have: Thanatos, Armageddon, Ruin, and Nilfheim. These blades belong to 3 people, 2 of which are Tag Gala family members. He probably could take on most of us if he is as trained as we believe. Chihiro and Fate stated alternatively. And now, Sasuke was training with Naruto and Sakura when he remembered something. Hey Sakura, you do realize that I am going to be put under the CRA? Browse just in community forum beta story search. Anime/manga/Naruto/anime/Naruto/. Plus. Sakura suddenly looked up from the beating she was getting while trying to match Naruto and his Nodachi. Yeah, I know, the fact was probably beat into me on more than one occasion. Why, are you thinking of not accepting anyone from the village? She then started to push back with her blade, almost causing Naruto to skid back. Before he did, he switched over to Samehada and started to swing it around like it was a stick. Sakura quickly locked blades with Naruto, her sword's ability to drain the life force of enemies and negating Samehada's ability to drain chakra. Naruto then pulled back and put up half of the tiger sign. Tag Gala Forbidden Technique, Demon Seal Release. As his chakra suddenly multiplied, Sakura noticed that Naruto grew wings, one similar to a bat's wing, the other an angel's wing. The slit in his eyes suddenly became clearer and sharper, his features suddenly seemed more fox-like, and he then seemed to randomly appear in the area before charging at Sakura with his sword dragging the ground. Sakura dodged and replied with a futon, Diatapa. When it hit Naruto, he crashed and hit the ground. So, Sasuke, are you scared that your fangirls will find out about your being in the CRA and try to rape you again? Sakura suddenly started to turn her head. Again? What does he mean by again? Sasuke suddenly looked down and grunted. About an hour after the meeting yesterday, I was suddenly surrounded and without the help of Naruto here, would have been raped by the fangirls. Sasuke then noticed that everyone was hungry. How about we head out and get some food? I know this really good tea shop nearby. Everyone nodded and started towards the tea shop. Evergreen Tea Shop. If this place is real, then damn, I don't own either. At the shop 4 people were talking amongst each other. The 4 were Kaita, Otella, Chihiro, and Fate. Their genin teams were spread out through the shop, along with a team that had a music note on their headband. The talking all stopped when Team 7 walked in and sat down, the Tag Gala family members recognizing the blades held by the boy with whisker marks, the Oto team recognizing the Uchiha, and no one recognizing Sakura. When Naruto started looking around, he noticed the IWA team and grinned dangerously. Well Sasuke, look at this, we got ourselves an audience. I wonder, does IWA, Kyumo, Kiri, Oto, and whatever villages that showed up really believe that Konoha Team 7 is not gonna all become Chunin? I mean, our members are Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, Uchiha Namikaze Sakura, and Uchiha Sasuke. Our sensei is Namikaze Hatake Kakashi. He then noticed the ones whose energy was similar to Hiroshi's. Actually, it seems that the Kiri teams might be a little bit of a challenge, especially the one with the green-haired sensei. Probably the one with red and green hair will be the hardest opponent to beat. He then notices Yujito's Yuki. Ooh, and Kyumo sends their little kitty to tackle Konoha's crow. Too bad this crow hunts with a fox. The other teams suddenly smirk when they feel that the guys talking shit about their teams have shitty levels of chakra. The tag galas are the only ones who realize that his chakra is also currently recovering from usage of the flow. Fate walks over to him and sits across from him. Tell me, little boy, do you know what family I represent? Yeah, the Tag Gala family. You're Hiroshi-sensei's wife Fate. Naruto replied, sitting down and lazily grinning. He made sure that I knew everyone he thought could kick my ass, either by a slim margin or a complete ass kicking. He had you labeled as a slim margin, Otella-san over there with a complete ass kicking, same with Kaita-san and Shihiro-san. Suejin-sensei and Tomohiro-sensei made that clear as well. They drove into my head that any of the Crimson Fangs could kick my ass, except for Jervin. Naruto stated, all the while judging everyone's reaction. Kaito was smirking, Shihiro was laughing, Otella was happy, and Fate was just surprised. Wait. You were trained by Aji-san and Tu-san, even Danny-chan, with the last one a sudden flash of black lightning almost singed the red and green-haired girl who had just spoken. Yeah, I suppose so, if Tomohiro Baka was the last name on that list. He didn't even blink as a Tomohiro suddenly appeared and hit him over the head before catching a glimpse of all the friendly Tag Gala family members that wanted to turn him into Swiss cheese. When the vampire disappeared, Naruto suddenly ducked as a jounin was sent flying away from Rika's table. A girl with her dark hair in a bob cut, pale gray eyes, dark purple tank top, black shorts, standard shinobi sandals, and fingerless gloves complete with knuckle studs was standing where the man had been. Naruto suddenly noticed that the jounin was none other than Ebisu. The girl started yelling at Ebisu and calling him a pervert. Naruto suddenly stood up, grabbed Ebisu, and sent him flying out with a Rasengan-powered push. Stay out, you damn pervert, I told you time and time again. Next time, I'm sending you out with a fucking Baijidama. When he turned around, the girl looked at him. Name's Fujiwara Ruka Genin of Kirigakure and next in line to inherit the Fujiwara tea industry. She held out her hand. Naruto shook her hand and then sat back down, but not before sending a glare at a civilian who didn't like him. The civilian suddenly stood up, and with practiced ease, threw two senbon at Naruto. The two senbon hit him and was dissolved almost instantly. With a flick of his hand, Naruto sent out two Sonikubareto shots that immediately killed the civilian. Sonikubareto, which is my fastest attack. Fate suddenly looked at him and noticed that he had his hand on the sheath of Armageddon. That was movement that Hiroshi did routinely, most often when he wanted to do something stronger but couldn't afford to. She also noticed that his gaze kept heading towards Rika, who was also glancing at the kid. I wonder if the two realized that they are acting almost like Hiroshi and I. Only this time there is no annoying mother that doesn't approve. What would Hiroshi say, besides the warning to not hurt his daughter? If the rumors are true, he is also under the CRA. Naruto-san, I suppose we all should head to our individual residences for the exams start tomorrow. He nodded and all the people there suddenly disappeared in various shushins. Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke all ordered some dango and tea and quickly ate. The next day, Team 7 walked into the academy dressed in their grays. Naruto had all of his weapons sealed into his gloves. Sakura's nodachi was sealed into the inside of her glove. Sasuke had taken to having his chikudo in the small of his back. When they showed up, Kakashi appeared and gave them a cheesy thumbs up. He then explained that if all three hadn't showed up they would have been disqualified before they even began. He then wished them good luck and sent them up. When they reached the second floor they saw two genin pushing Rock Lee back and taunting him about how pathetic he was. Sasuke was about to say something when Sakura and Naruto shook their heads. They waved at Tenten and walked through the genjutsu. When they got to the top they saw the actual room and all nodded with identical smirks. On Sasuke's signal they all kicked the doors and caused them to slam against the walls. Everyone in the room turned and directed as much killing intent as possible at the three. All of a sudden they all hit the ground and the three released more killing intent than most Kage were capable of. A man with silver hair came walking up and grinned. "Wow, you three really know how to make an entrance. My name's Kabuto. Course you three might also draw too much attention to yourselves." Kabuto suddenly glared when he saw that Naruto was asleep. "You know, a lot of the people in this room could kill you while you sleep." Everyone from Konoha suddenly started laughing at Kabuto. "You're not really a Konoha genin if you think that someone can sneak up on him," Shikamaru said as he walked up. "Yeah, 'cause Naruto and I could kick all your asses asleep," Hinata states as she walked up. The rest of the Rookie 12 file into the room. Neji looks at Naruto and scoffs, right before a crow lands on his shoulder and suddenly grows into a clone of Naruto. Namikaze Naruto is finally here, he shouts as the clone that was asleep disperses. Everyone suddenly looks at him in shock, a faint cry of bullshit coming from Kankuro who was slapped down by Temari. Unfortunately for our poor clown-based friend Naruto heard him. "Who's the dead bitch that said that?" Gaara suddenly pointed at his stupid older brother. Naruto walks up to Kankuro and pokes his chest and forces him back onto the ground. He then pulls out his wrapped blade and slams it down right next to his groin. "If you ever want to be able to use it, then you really don't want to call me a liar again. Next time I might not miss." With that he went to cuss some more people out when there was suddenly an explosion and a large amount of smoke in the front of the room. "Shut up and sit the fuck down," Ibiki yelled out as he and the other random chunin appeared. "My name's Marino Ibiki and I have the gracious pleasure of being your first proctor. If you are already pissing your pants you might want to get the fuck out of here. I will only say these rules once. Rule 1. If I say to do something you fucking do it. Rule 2, if you cheat, you get 2 points docked off your final score. You have 10 points, so that means try not to get caught 5 times, otherwise your entire team is fucked due to your stupidity. Rule 3, no sitting beside someone from your village. Rule 4, you have 1 hour to finish. At 10 till I will give you question 10, so don't piss me off. Rule 5, no playing poker with the umbu that walk by the room. The last rule had people going WTF until they looked over and saw Naruto winning against some ANBU. "Come on Ibiki, one little game and you chickened out of playing again," Naruto said as he dealt out the cards. "That's because Anko was there along with a few other kunoichi and you somehow convinced me to convince them to play strip poker. You never lost a damn hand either. Hell, I don't think you have ever lost a hand during a card game." He then noticed Naruto's triumphant grin. Damn Gaki, he thinks that he is so smooth because he saw Anko, Yugao, Hana, and even Kurenai beat the shit out of me while they were naked. I do see why Jiraiya does what he does now. Either way, you shouldn't be playing poker during a test. Oh yeah, well I finished. I got the answers from the ANBU I was playing against. She was rather forward with the answers once you mentioned that I have never lost a hand. So thank you for helping my legend grow. Naruto stated as he then kicked back in the chair and pushed some convenient shades up over his eyes. As everyone finally calmed down, some of the others were realizing what the test was about. Sasuke was using his Sharingan. Sakura knew most of the answers and was helping out Tenten, Neji, and Hinata were using their Byakugan. Ruka was slowly sipping tea as she waited for Rika to use her ace in the hole. Kiba had Akamaru spying on others' papers. Ino took control of a random person who already had the answers written and then possessed Choji to give him the answers. Gaara was using his third eye technique. Rika activated the flow and used the ability to stop time long enough for her to gather the answers and write them on her teammates' papers. Samui used her looks to convince a pathetic Chunin to give her the answers. Omoi passed his answers to Karui when no one was looking. Lee got the answers from 1010, and the rest used a few of their favorite cheating techniques. Numbers 12, 78, 90, and 23. You and your teams are outta here, Ibiki said as the 4 teams left. He then grinned as he saw Naruto wasn't awake. Trust the brat to actually get the clue to the test. He openly talks with the Kyubi, and from what I gathered he even gained a few new inhabitants. The Kiri teams are strange though. Naruto never directed any killing intent their way, almost as if though they were stronger than him. I wonder, the one with mixed hair color seems to be the unofficial team leader. The IWA team is looking at Naruto like he stabbed their puppy, which considering he introduced himself as Namikaze Naruto right from the start, makes a lot of sense. Kyumo sent the Nibinobake Mono Jinchuriki. Suna sent the Ichibi no Tanuki Jinchuriki. Taki sent the Nanabai Jinchuriki. So 4 total Jinchuriki in the exams. 3 Jinchuriki were sent as senseis to the other teams. 7 of the 9 Jinchuriki in one village. What have we done to deserve this? Fortunately for us, Naruto holds the Kyubi. And is actually strong enough without using the Yuki. I think it might be overkill if he did. Oh look, during my inner monologue I was subconsciously eliminating cheaters. Oh, and it's time for the final question. Someone wake up Sleeping Beauty. Rika, who was sitting next to Naruto, poked his side to wake him up. When he turned his eyes to her she pointed up at Ibiki. He nodded and said thanks. So Tusan and Aji-san both trained him. He even has Thanatos. I must see if he is worthy of those weapons. And to see if he might be boyfriend material. At least Tusan won't try to kill him. Ibiki looked around at the teams left. 100 teams left. Time to drop the number. Before I give you the 10th question I will give you one last chance to leave before I give it to you. Why would we do that? A random useless peon asked from the back. Because of the fact that if you take the question and fail, you will remain genin forever. Ibiki replied with a sadistic grin. Someone shouted about how it wasn't fair and Ibiki suddenly grinned even more. 2 bad boys and girls, 'cause this time I'm making the rules. Naruto sat there as team after team had left. It was down to the rookie 12. Iwa's 2 teams, Kyumo's 2 teams, Kiri's 3 teams, the Sand siblings, 2 teams from Taki, Kabuto's team, and the Odo team. That wasn't counting the other rooms, which could have a lot more people in them as well. Naruto remembered what Enko told him about how all the teams left would be brought together in part 2. Naruto then realized what Ibiki had been doing and started laughing when it looked like no one else was gonna leave. So, Ibiki the torturer strikes again? Man, what a riot. You don't have the rank to stop anyone from being Chunin. I went through harder training when I was 10, at least then I had the grace of not putting up with the bullshit of the world and the bastards who are too fucking weak to stay. Naruto then noticed that everyone was looking at him like he was crazy. What, you try training against spiders large enough to devour you in one bite? The forest of death ain't a fucking joke. Ibiki then glared at him. As he said, I do not have the authority to stop you, except for kicking you out of the room. However, for those of you still here, you pass. The entire concept was to see if you could cheat without getting caught, either by using unique skills, he pointed to those who had Kekai Genkai, or you happen to be an extremely lucky bastard at cards. He pointed at Naruto this time, who just laughed. The second part of the test was to see whether or not you had the guts to be a Chunin, because as a Chunin you do not have the ability to say no about what mission you might receive, so I'm somewhat happy to say congratulations. However, if you happen to be scared of spiders, be careful in the next test. As Ibiki said this, a black ball burst through the window and unrolled with the words, Namikaze Mitarashi Anko, sexy and taken snake mistress of Konoha, displayed on it. Naruto's POV. Naruto was pissed. Of all the people he could fight, it had to be a fucking Sannin. He had enough problems with Zabuza. Naruto then finally snapped and resealed Thanatos into the special seal on his palm. Ketsueki-to, Kaimamire no Tenshi. When Naruto took his winged FORM, he suddenly started a long line of hand signs, before yelling out his most dangerous technique in this form, Ketsueki-to, Kaimamire no Tenshi, Kushizashi no Chizai. Orochimaru was suddenly dodging spikes made of blood, hardly a threat. He then noticed that he was surrounded by a large amount of the blood bubbles. Sorry hey team, but this your end. Ketsueki-to, Kaimamire no Tenshi, Tenshi no Bochi. Roughly blood style, bloody angel, angel's graveyard. Orochimaru noticed that he was surrounded by blood and even covered in it. Katsu. The blood all exploded, taking Orochimaru's arm and causing him to flee. Naruto then dropped to the ground while waiting for his team to come and help him. He then noticed Rika looking down at him from a branch higher up from the ground than he was. Sup, Miss Tag Gala. He then sat with his back to the tree he was in. Rika was floored. This guy just did more damage than even she could. What the hell was that? That was one of my more deadly blood-based attacks. It covers everything and then I use my ability to make my blood a bomb to finish off whatever I hit. The attack, like most of my blood-based attacks, has the unfortunate weakness of using my blood as a weapon. However, by being the Jinchuriki of the Kyubi no Kitsune has its perks. Well, looks like my team is here. Naruto said as Sasuke appeared next to him and helped him up. See ya around, Miss Tag Gala. With that, Naruto and Sasuke disappeared in a Shushin. Naruto, the Crow of Konoha. Chapter 8, Prelims and Recollection of a Snake. Naruto was sitting against the wall in the room in the tower. He was recovering from fighting the damn snake Sannin and he was in pain. It all started a few minutes after they got their final scroll. Flashback. Naruto and Sasuke were standing next to a river while Sakura was setting up camp. The two were planning on the route they were gonna take to reach the tower in the center. So, Naruto, why can't we take the most direct path there? Sasuke asked the whiskered teammate. That would probably be the most expected path and there is also a spider nest there. Now normally I would say fuck it and run through there anyway, that particular nest is one of the more dangerous ones. The spiders there protect the queen, and are far from small and weak like the one that attacked me earlier. The queen herself is there as well, and I don't think we can take on a spider the size of a biju. Naruto replied with a dark seriousness. He tried to fight the queen once, she was a tough bitch, and she could talk as well. She let him go that once with a warning. I'm pretty sure that the queen is either a demon spider or a boss summon. Naruto finished as he drew a path that led through a rather thin area of trees. So what would happen if you went and fought the queen and won? Would we be able to pass straight through? Sasuke asked, curious. Yeah, problem is fighting her is damn near impossible without using all of Natsume's chakra. Naruto then looked up. Do you smell something like snakes? Sasuke shakes his head in the negative. Anko never comes out this far until the third exam. To have that smell out this far, it would mean either her or him. That traitor better not be here. Naruto thought before he ran his hand through his hair. Well, we might as well rest now, and then make a mad dash for the tower tomorrow. Sasuke and Sakura nodded at the logic. The next day on the way to the tower, Team 7 was showing their training and was going faster than most jounin could hope to match. The most notable fact was that each of them was using some technique to scan the surrounding areas. Naruto was using Samahata, Sasuke had his Sharingan, and Sakura was using the sensory abilities that she had gathered during the extreme training sessions with Saya. Sasuke then noticed a large mass of chakra heading towards them and signaled for the other two to be ready. When it hit them it was in the form of a futon, Diatapa. Naruto held Samahata out and let it eat the chakra in the jutsu. Come on out. Snake. Naruto calls out, his hands already releasing a small amount of blood for his Sonokubareto. Oh, do you mean little ol' me? The Kusa Kunoichi from earlier asks. Naruto fires off the Sonokubareto and watches as the Kunoichi is hit by a handful of the bullets. She then gets up and rips off her mask revealing Orochimaru. He spit out a new body and then spits out the Kusanagi. I'll make you pay for that, little boy. I will make you suffer 1,000 deaths for injuring my body. I'll dash. He is cut off when Naruto appears behind him and slashes down with Samahata. Orochimaru dodges the attack and is blindsided when Sasuke appears and kicks him in the opposite direction where Sakura is waiting with her blade drawn. He dodges the attack and is slowly preparing to summon multiple snakes when he suddenly grins. Little boy, I heard you recently adopted my wayward student into your family. Does it make you mad that I visited her before I came after you? Naruto was suddenly quiet. Sasuke. Sakura, get out of here. I'm gonna go all out on this bastard. He looks up and his eyes are showing the yellow eyes of his Kyuubi cloak. He then reaches for the katana at his side. The black handle interests Orochimaru until he notices the pure white blade. When Naruto finishes drawing the blade, he puts one of his hands into the half-tiger sign. Tag Gala Forbidden Technique, Demon Seal Release. With the technique active, Naruto rushes at Orochimaru with his wings still hidden by his cloak. Orochimaru dodges the Jinchuriki's wild strikes and notices that Naruto is calmly staring at him before he ducks. And Naruto suddenly starts moving even faster. For a snake, you seem to be running an awful lot. Here, let me help you, Orochimaru. Help you die, that is. Naruto suddenly appears to form an afterimage that begins to attack Orochimaru as well. Orochimaru looks up and notices that Naruto was forming a giant black orb in the sky. As the Sannin felt the Ki being released from the move, he prepared to summon the Rashomon gates. Naruto formed the attack a little longer and began to pull it down, only for the energy to fight him before bursting and flying straight down at Orochimaru. Take this, you stupid snake. Dragonic Meteor. When the attack hit, Orochimaru went flying and Naruto landed on the ground and switched Armageddon for Thanatos. He then transformed her into scythe form. The scythe was wicked looking, with a pure black blade, black metal handle, and a red ethereal glow surrounding it. From this point it is merely when Rika showed up. Flashback ends. Naruto was still shivering from the look Orochimaru had in his eyes when he released the Dragonic Meteor. He felt like he was being watched by a pedophile with a snake obsession. The first thing Naruto had done when he made it to the tower was ask where Anko was. When he was told she was in the medical wing, he took off running and ran into her room. She was there just staring out into space. Ankone? Are you all right? Naruto asked. Just fine, I ran into my former sensei is all. Wait, how did you know I was here? Anko replied. My team ran into him. He was kinda disarmed after the fight was over. Naruto replied, smirking when Anko slowly turned her head towards him. You mean you actually fought him? Are you fucking stupid or something? What if you had died? She screams out. Naruto says nothing and gets up and hugs her. I will never die to scum like him. I managed to remove his arm and determine his target. He wants Sasuke's Sharingan. I didn't actually want to fight him until he said that he reached you first, after I heard that I went crazy and wanted him to bleed. When I thought that I lost a member of my new family, it made me remember what happened that night. Naruto replied, still holding his adopted older sister, tears coming to his eyes from the memories. Anko just held her little brother a little longer than felt that he was asleep. To be able to injure Orochimaru, just how strong are you, Ototo? Enko then fell asleep. Time skipped to the prelims. Naruto was standing beside his team dressed in his usual trench coat, only without a shirt like Crow wears. Sasuke was wearing a red cloak with black clouds. Sakura was wearing her wet boy grays. The teams there were the two IWA teams, the Rookie 12, the Suna team, the Odo team, the three Kiri teams, one of the Taki teams, and the two Kyumo teams. Naruto had a blank look on his face as he was talking to Crow. So, Gaki, do you think you are ready to learn my signature technique? Are you ready to learn the Sonokubaraku? Yeah, I know I am ready to learn the Sonic Black. Good, 'cause I will teach it to you on one condition. That condition is to win your fight here by only using Natsume's chakra. Are you sure about that, Crow? I mean, what if I fight a Konoha shinobi? Hope you get Niji or any of that Kabuto team's team. Got it, sensei. Naruto was brought back to attention when he saw everyone heading up to the sides. When he got to the top and was standing next to his team, he looked at Sasuke and smirked. Hey Sasuke, I bet you can't win without the Sharingan. Sasuke looks at Naruto and notices the smirk. Before he smirked. I bet you can't win without using your blood techniques. They stared into each other's eyes before smirking and shaking hands. Deal. Kakashi nodded to the two and Sakura smiled. Sasuke then looked at each of the Konoha genin. Hey, would any of you mind if I watched the matches with my Sharingan? Naruto looked up from a book he picked up. Sure, I don't mind. Hinata looked up. Of course, Sasuke-san. The rest all agreed until only Lee was left. Lee looked at Guy and was told it was his choice. On one condition, Sasuke-san, that condition is that if you copy any of my moves, then would you spar with me? Sasuke smiled, not smirked, and looked at Lee. I promise that if I copy any of your moves, I will personally spar with you so as to not tarnish the hard work you put into it. Lee looked at Sasuke and smiled before standing in the nice guy pose. Wosh. As everyone was watching the board afterwards, everyone was waiting for the first match. Namikaze Naruto versus Yakushi Kabuto. Naruto smirked at the board and suddenly appeared down on the arena floor. He pointed to Kabuto and made a come hither gesture. Kabuto was wondering what he should do when he noticed that Orochimaru was motioning for him to kill Naruto. Hiruzen was watching the fights along with A and Terumi Mei. He noticed that Mei was watching some of her jounin with a look of slight agitation. A was looking at Naruto and then smirked when Naruto appeared on the ground in a burst of speed. Anoki walked into the room and noticed the name. He smirked before he noticed the fact that he was smirking. Naruto looked at Kabuto and caught the scent of snakes all over him. Yakushi-san, I am sorry, but this fight will probably be your last. Naruto suddenly started using Natsume's chakra and the entire room suddenly felt the choking hate of the Kyuubi's chakra. All the Jinchuriki in the room were floored and they realized that the strongest contender was not only the son of Yondaime Hokage but also the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. Yujito, Fu, Gaara, Han, Rashi, and B all looked at the kid and slowly understood that Naruto was quite possibly the most dangerous opponent in the exams. The Konoha genin were wondering why so many of the foreign shinobi looked scared at the energy. Kabuto just smirked before Hayate yelled out, Hajime, and he was suddenly launched towards the wall, however he was stopped before he could hit it. He was stopped by Naruto's foot, of course. Naruto then proceeded to begin a combo that ended with a kick up into the air followed by an axe kick down. Endgame. Otella was shocked. Here was a kid using her older brother's most feared hand-to-hand technique. This technique could lead to up 1,000 strikes before the final strike. She saw the angle of the final kick and the fact that the kid used the corrosive chakra from his Biju to completely kill his opponent. She noticed that Naruto seemed to smirk in a wolfish manner before she saw the image of Suijin behind the genin. So you really did train the kid, big bro? I wonder if you think he'll be able to control all 7. She then saw the kid walking up the sides and moved over to him. Hey kid, so you were really trained by? Yep, little sister. He was trained by the best of the motherfucking best. Suijin said as he appeared in a swirl of ice and snow. All the people there who knew the power that was present in the Tag Gala family understood that the strongest person to exist from the family was present. You see, I noticed that he had Fire Boy's sword and Leech Boy's blade, so I decided why the hell not. I gave him a few techniques, such as my taijutsu finishers and even our family's secret technique. I honestly believe that he will be able to reach stage 3, however it will be impossible unless he gains the rest of the 7. So, Tag Gala family members and loyal fangs, if he meets your standards let him see if he matches the Cataclysm standards. Oh, Enrica, your father wanted me to tell you that he expects you to win. Or at least lose only to Naruto, any less in your training will be covered by moi. Suijin then reappeared next to Chihiro and the two shared a look that spoke words that none but those in the fangs could understand. As Naruto walked over to his team they asked why he killed Kabuto. The bastard smelled like he bathed in essence of snake. Unless Anko was deciding to give a pathetic genin the chance to be surrounded by her possessions for a couple of years, then the only other reason would be a connection to Orochimaru. The only thing that happened was my killing a possible leak in the chain information. Orochimaru was furious, his best spy was murdered right in front of him. He needed to rethink his entire plan now, and to make matters worse he noticed that Naruto was the Kyuubi Jinchuriki and was thus unable to have the cursed mark applied to his body. He remembered that he had a certain secret that could get the boy to lose his cool. I'll just tell him that Danzo ordered the death of his mother and that Danzo was doing so he could get Naruto on his side by having him become an emotionless puppet. Kukukuku, I will eventually be uneatable and wait if I use Edo Tensei and bring back his mother and father to fight him, it will crush him. Doing this will make him rue the day he decided to kill my second-in-command. Oblivious to Orochimaru's insidious plans, Naruto walked over to his team and looked at Sasuke. Beat that Sasuke. Sasuke Uchiha vs Omoi. Sasuke watched as a white-haired shinobi from Kumo jumped down from the stands. He had a long sword and was looking at the Uchiha. Well, Naruto, you won in one move. So I guess I will too. Omoi was watching the kid walk down the stairs and draw a wakizashi from his cloak sleeve. What if I kill him and it starts a war, or he wins and Karui tries to kill me for losing? Omoi almost missed when Hayate yelled out, Hajime, and had to dodge the sudden strikes from the black-haired shinobi he was fighting. He blinked when he saw the image of the Shinigami behind him. He quickly dispelled the genjutsu only to notice that Sasuke had just finished a series of hand signs ending on the tiger sign. Katan, Ryuka no Jutsu. The Chunin hopeful fired the large fire dragon at Omoi, who switched with a random rock that was on the ground from Naruto's beating of Kabuto. Sasuke appeared behind him and held his wakizashi to Omoi's throat. Surrender or die, Kumo nin. Omoi nodded his surrender and Sasuke helped him up. Sasuke then looked up at Naruto and smirked. As everyone was amazed at the power of the two genin who had fought and won their matches, they realized that the 3 members of Team 7 could very well end up winning and becoming Chunin. To make matters worse, there was still the pink-haired member of the team. As most of the genin were shocked by the abilities displayed by the 2 Konoha genin, Gaara was talking with Shikaku. Mother, why can't I kill the blonde? Because he is much stronger than you. He could kill you and prove that his existence is stronger than yours. Fine, I will listen to you. Mother. Sasuke stood next to Naruto and held his head up high. Well, so far our team has been going first, I wonder if Sakura is next. Kintsuda Dosu vs Akimichi Choji. Canon. Sabaku no Temari vs Tenten. Canon. Namikaze Uchiha Sakura vs Yamanaka Ino. As Sakura walked down towards the arena, Ino was smirking. She was gonna prove to Sasuke that he should have married her. She had been training in using her body as a way to seduce Sasuke away from all of the hussies that went for him. She was gonna win and Sasuke would have to choose her. Vi, Kyler, Saya, and Anko were all watching as Sakura slowly walked down the stairs and noticed that she had a smirk that Vi recognized right away. You actually found a student who could use Mama K's smirk, damn it Kyler. I would also like to see what she can do, I mean she is on Naruto-kun's team. Kyler just grinned, you know she is gonna play around with the girl right? Saya and Vi just smirked. Of course, Kyler. Down in the arena Ino was spouting nonsense about how she was gonna win and Sasuke would love her instead of Sakura. Sakura just stared at Ino and shook her head. Just cut the shit Ino, you and I both know that I am much stronger now than I was in the academy. Ino just charged at Sakura as soon as Hayate said to begin. She tried to punch Sakura, but Sakura stepped back and brought a roundhouse kick to connect with Ino. Give up forehead. Sakura smirked. Before she swung her hand out and threw several kunai at Ino. Ino dodged them only to see Sakura flashing through hand signs. Futon, Chakra Diatapa. The wind pushed Ino into the wall at such speeds that Ino was out like a light before she hit the ground. Hayate and the others just grimaced at the blonde fangirl. Winner, Namikaze Uchiha Sakura. Everyone was surprised, a whole team made it through the finals, a team that many in Konoha thought wouldn't even make it this far. The ones who trained the team were looking around with looks of superiority. Ni Yujito versus Hyuga Niji. As everyone noticed the village that Niji's opponent was from, they were worried about whether or not he would be able to control himself. He had a smirk on his face that told everyone the answer, he was gonna draw this fight out as long as possible. He then glared hard at the girl and noticed that she was looking up at Naruto with a small blush every now and then. You should just quit. A Kumo shinobi. Against a Hyuga prodigy, it's almost my fate to win. Yujito looked at the Hyuga, did you say something? Kakashi suddenly smiled and looked at the kunoichi before going back to reading his porn. Niji activated his Byakugan and slipped into an advanced Juken stance. Your village killed my father, and I will take your life from you. Yujito suddenly sighed, really, you are going to try and take my life because of something that happened in the past? You're pathetic, and your words are meaningless. She suddenly starts to be covered in chakra that reminded people of Naruto's. For you are facing the Jinchuriki of the Nibi no Bakemono. She then appeared behind Niji and punched him into the wall. Get up, Fate Boy, I'm not finished with you just yet. Niji stood up and glared at the kunoichi. You Kumo bitch, I'll kill you for that. Yujito suddenly stopped moving and everyone was starting to get worried. Kyler and Vi were preparing to move and intercept her before she killed someone who wasn't her opponent. Saya was preparing to protect the Kages. Naruto was prepared to stop a rampaging Jinchuriki. Sasuke had his Mangekyo active prepared to control the Yuki of the demon. I'm sorry you feel that way, but you really shouldn't have called her that. A voice said from Yujito. She really doesn't like it when someone calls her that, so she decided to let me play around with you. The now identified Nibi said to Niji. She then clawed at Niji and sent him flying back before getting right next to him and repeatedly punched him until he couldn't stand anymore. As Hayate announced the winner, she kept going. Just as she was about to strike the killing blow, her arm was grabbed by Naruto. Give control back to Yujito or I'll show you what a difference Seven Tails makes. Naruto said, channeling Kyuubi's chakra in the end. Oh, please do. Show me how dominating you can be. Nibi said before she felt the chakra he was pushing out increased. Oh, please, do more to me. Naruto suddenly applies more pressure and everyone starts having slight problems breathing. Do you really want to try and piss me off? He replied. His energy starting to turn black, and the Tag Gala family started to see the energy signature of wings on his back. Fine, I'll give control back to Yujito, but eventually I'll come for you. Nibi answered before giving Yujito control again. Naruto let up the pressure and release Yujito's arm. Glad to see that you are back to yourself. You won your match, but almost went out of control. Please do try to take more precautions in the future, or else I'll have to personally interfere. He stated before he appeared next to his team with a shushin. As Yujito headed back up to her team, she asked Nibi just how bad it was. Kitten, I think he would have killed us had I tried to continue. He was starting to use some kind of power that is more powerful than chakra and yuki. Kitten, if you ever have to fight him, then be extremely careful. Don't forget, he is possibly the most dangerous person here. I doubt even B is as powerful as he is at the moment. Yujito looked over at Naruto and noticed that he had a demonic grin on his face. Fu versus Aburame Shino. Shino looked over and noticed that his opponent was Shinobi from Takigakure. He noticed that she had mint green hair with an orange clip hold some of the spikes from her eyes. Her eyes were the same color as her hair clip. She was wearing a short, sleeveless, white midriff shirt with fishnet armor underneath, long white armlets, fishnet shorts with a short white apron skirt over them, and a red cylindrical object on her back. She held herself with a large amount of pride and walked down the stairs and stared at Shino with a calculating gaze. So I am fighting an Aburame? What did I do to earn such an easy trip to the finals? She gloated. Shino said nothing as slowly released his Kikaichu into the air. Don't get cocky before the fight even starts. Fu grins, and as soon as Height shouts for them to begin, she releases her Biju's chakra and enters her chakra shroud. Shino notices and calls the beetles back. Proctor, I must forfeit. I know that I am not ready for this level of competition yet. Shino said in his monotone voice, although those who knew him heard the slight cursing in his voice. As Shino walked back to his team, Naruto put his hand on his shoulder. Don't worry, Shino, I'll help you with training against Jinchuriki. We might even be able to help your Kikaichi be able to absorb the Yuki that a Jinchuriki releases. He said as Shino looked at him. Thank you, Naruto-san. As all the Konoha shinobi smiled at the display of camaraderie, Gaara was slowly starting to leak bloodlust at an increased rate. Sabaku no Gaara versus Hyuga Namikaze Hinata. As all the genin gasped at the third person to have Namikaze in their name, Hinata was worried for a different reason. Shit, I just had to get the annoyingly bloodthirsty Jinchuriki. As she walked down, she noticed that everyone was staring at her with pride and told her that they believed in her. She held her head up with the pride expected of a Hyuga and pointed at Gaara and slipped into a loose juken stance. No one noticed that her hand a seal formula on it or that Naruto was smirking at what Hinata would do. Height looked at the two genin and noticed that each was waiting for the beginning of the match. Hajime. With the fight started, Hinata rushed at Gaara with what appeared to be average speed before she reached about halfway to him and suddenly disappeared in a burst of speed and appeared behind Gaara, using one hand to blast some of his sand armor away before slamming the seal onto the revealed skin. Gaara suddenly shouted out that he couldn't hear his mother anymore, making most of the people look at him like he was crazy, except for the other Jinchuriki whose Biju told them that Shikaku had a habit of acting completely insane. What did you do to mother? I want to talk to mother. Mother's mother. It's your fucking Biju. Hinata replied. Hey, take that back. Don't talk about mother that way. You meanie. Gaara replied, slightly pouting at the end. Oh, sorry, what the hell am I saying? Hinata asked herself as she slowly started to knock Gaara around before finally breaking off the last of his sand armor and revealing that Gaara was not as male as the others thought. When the sand fell off, everyone was shocked. Props and a decision on the fate of Femme Gaara, if you can name the movie where I took these last few lines from, a movie which I technically own a copy of. 3 of the Jinchuriki here are girls. And of us all it is the two with the higher number of tails that have better control. Naruto said as he watched the fight with his eye twitching. He walked over to the Kyumo team that was being led by a dark-skinned man who was rapping, horribly. I refuse to do the rapping. I suck worse than B, and I won't run anyone off with my abysmal skills. I'm a white kid who lives in the South and listens to hard rock and heavy metal. B looked at the kid that walked up to him and put his arm on his shoulder. Kid, I know what you mean. I mean, you and I seem to be the only male Jinchuriki here. B said before two of the three Iwa Jounin came walking over. One looked like an old mountain climber, with red hair and a red beard, and the other had on red armor. That, my friend, is where you are wrong. My name is Rashi and my partner over here is Han. We are the Jinchuriki to the Yonbi and the Gobi respectively. I noticed though that even though your last name is Namikaze, you look nothing like your father. Honestly, Rashi-san, if I ever met my father I would probably seal his chakra, tie him up, and bring him to Iwa myself. The man actually wrote in his journal about some pretty sick shit he did during the war. When he was sure that he would never get caught, one of the things he did was when he apparently found a team of Iwa genin and killed all of them except for the Kunoichi. What he did to her made me sick. He actually bragged about causing her to kill herself because he raped her. I thought at first that he was a good man if not naive. However, while I was waiting I decided to read his journals and see if he left any notes on the Hiration when I found those sickening entries. I showed them to my sensei and the Hokage and they understood why I would do that. I would actually like to meet the Tsuchikage myself in order to apologize for what my father did. I plan on keeping the name Namikaze and turning it into a name that actually has a good legend instead of the disgraceful one my father left behind, Naruto said with disgust in his eyes at the mere mention of what his father did. Rashi and Han looked down at the kid in front of them and noticed that he was telling the truth the entire time. They were surprised. Kid, if you are serious then follow us after the prelims are over. For now, though, let's watch your adopted sister win her match against the Suna Jinchuriki. As everyone watched, Hinata started to form a technique in her hands that every shinobi recognized. This here is a technique that my Nii-san taught me. Rasengan. Hinata then ran at Gaara and slammed the sphere into her chest, causing her to hit the wall and fall down. She then turned around and put her hands in the peace sign before she was almost covered in sand. The only thing that stopped it was the fact that every Jinchuriki pushed their Yuki out and told Shikaku to return from whence he came. As Naruto walked up to Gaara, he watched as the sand tried to stop him only disperse before touching him. Here, let me help you up, he said as he held his hand out to the red head. Why don't you tell us your real name? He asked as the girl looked up at him and heard Shikaku muttering in her mind. Gaia. She replied before grabbing the outstretched and letting the boy help her up. Naruto-san, I was wondering, could you help with seal that is keeping Shikaku under wraps? I know that for now I am in control, but I don't know how long that will last. She asked, hoping that he could help before she was forced to let her other personality out to give her mother a treat. You see, Gaara is real. He is a manifestation of Shikaku's will to murder others and feed her blood. Naruto thought before Natsume told him that he could travel into the girl's mindscape and find out what was causing Shikaku to go batshit crazy. Naruto asked Gaia if he could and she told him that she didn't care, so long as he didn't die. He nodded before he placed 2 fingers onto her head and meditated in Gaia's/Gaara's mindscape. The first thing that Naruto noticed was that the area was covered in sand. He also noticed that next to him were the spiritual bodies of the cataclysms he wielded. He also noticed that Ruin was in his hands. Ruin, why am I wielding you? Simple. We can feel the presence of a soul that shouldn't be here, a soul that we have had to deal with in the past. The soul fragment is a fragment of a fallen Tag Gala. His main ability was attaching his soul to other souls. he was also the one who tried to kill Tomohiro and the others. The man's name was Satsuji no Tag Gala. Ruin replied. Murder King Tag Gala, he sounds like a right bastard. Naruto replied before he heard a roar from the distance that sounded like a woman yelling for someone to get out of her head. When Naruto found the voice, he saw what appeared to be a giant tanuki with a spider about to bite it. Oh hell no. Kuro Ikazuchi. Naruto swung Ruin and a large blast of black lightning flew out towards the spider. The spider just barely turned and deflected the attack with one of its legs before jumping at Naruto and stabbing him through the leg. Naruto gasped in pain before he used the blood that covered the leg as explosives and sent it flying backwards. The spider turned its black eyes towards the child that attacked it. Boy, I hope you know that you are fighting someone who went up against the best the Fangs and Fates could throw and walked away after kicking the ass of all of them. The spider taunted before dodging Nilfheim, who had appeared behind him with an evil look and striking him into a wall. The spider laughed before appearing behind Naruto and slamming him into the ground and throwing him around. Naruto attempted to get up but was stabbed through the leg by the spider. Just before the spider could hit him, a fierce flame appeared and sent the spider flying back towards the wall. Naruto looked up and saw both Crow and Natsum. Crow had a look of extreme anger on his face while Natsum was silently thanking Kami that Naruto was safe. So you had to call for help, boy? Don't worry. Maybe I'll take over your mind after I kill this girl's mind. Now die for me. Satsuji no's avatar said before he was cut in half by Thanatos. As he disappeared, he made a mental note of the boy who had attacked him. He would be sure to show this boy why he was king. As the spider dispersed, Naruto walked over to the tanuki that was slowly shrinking to form a human-shaped figure. When the sand was done falling, everyone there saw Shikaku in all of her glory. Crow was sent flying back with a nosebleed while all the other guys just stared in slight awe. When Shikaku turned to look at who had saved her, she saw her older sister. Natsume, what are you doing here? Natsum pointed to Naruto, who explained what had happened to the Biju. So that mean man made me seem to be a horrible monster? When everyone nodded, she burst into tears and told everyone to tell Gaia that she would be able to sleep now. Outside of the mindscape, Naruto suddenly opened his eyes and looked at the Tag Galas that walked over and told them that he had to tell them something in a minute. He then looked at Gaia. Gaia-chan, Shikaku is now back to her usual self and told us to tell you that you would be able to sleep once more. He then turned to the Tag Gala family. The reason she was not herself was that she was slowly being devoured by Satsuji no. Impossible. I watched Hiroshi and I kill Satsuji no, Otella replied, scared to think what it would mean if the boy was right. Are you sure that was the name of the person you fought in there? Hell yeah. I mean, how many people out there could really kick my ass and the ass of a Biju? Naruto replied. Otella looked at the boy and was slowly cursing out the possibility that Satsuji no was alive. The boy would definitely need oblivion at this rate. I'm sorry, but I will need to think about this before I can do anything. You do understand it, right? Naruto nodded his head before he passed out. 2 days later. Naruto woke up and the first thing he noticed was that he was in his room at the Namikaze residence. He groggily wondered if he had just dreamt all the shit that had happened. He noticed his calendar and saw that it was at least 2 days after the prelims. What the fuck happened? Did I win? Who am I fighting in the finals? Did the IWA group think that I avoided them? He then groaned and noticed he had a new weapon at his side. What the hell? He noticed that the blade had the energy he had come to place as a sign of a cataclysm. I wonder which one it is. He noticed that a weird symbol was on the bottom of the hilt. The symbol appeared to be a tree that seemingly had millions of branches. The branches led up the hilt to the sheath. The sword had the appearance of a jian. The blade was a metallic gray with a red stripe that went through the center. Naruto looked at the blade and wondered which of the cataclysms he had been granted once again. He then noticed that it was almost noon and he was hungry. He put on his clothes and headed out to Ichiraku's ramen. When he got there he overheard one guy talking about what the Iwa Kunoichi had done to poor Kiba. He had a spear of lava aimed at his nuts with the threat that next time she would aim a little up. He also learned that the Iwa team was after him and that he was also considered to be lying for claiming to a member of the Namikaze clan. Oh. Well, idiots will remain idiots. Naruto, the Crow of Konoha. Chapter 9, Rock's Princess, Perverted Summoners, and Portals to Nowhere. Previously on Naruto, the Crow of Konoha. Naruto woke up and the first thing he noticed was that he was in his room at the Namikaze residence. He groggily wondered if he had just dreamt all the shit that had happened. He noticed his calendar and saw that it was at least 2 days after the prelims. What the fuck happened? Did I win? Who am I fighting in the finals? Did the IWA group think that I avoided them? He then groaned and noticed he had a new weapon at his side. What the hell? He noticed that the blade had the energy he had come to place as a sign of a cataclysm. I wonder which one it is. He noticed that a weird symbol was on the bottom of the hilt. The symbol appeared to be a tree that seemingly had millions of branches. The branches led up the hilt to the sheath. The sword had the appearance of a jian. The blade was a metallic gray with a red stripe that went through the center. Naruto looked at the blade and wondered which of the cataclysms he had been granted once again. He then noticed that it was almost noon and he was hungry. He put on his clothes and headed out to Ichiraku's ramen. When he got there he overheard one guy talking about what the Iwa Kunoichi had done to poor Kiba. He had a spear of lava aimed at his nuts with the threat that next time she would aim a little up. He also learned that the IWA team was after him and that he was also considered to be lying for claiming to a member of the Namikaze clan. Oh. Well, idiots will remain idiots. To the present. Naruto was walking down the road on his way to one of the many training grounds that he knew would be free when he heard someone mentioning an invasion. As he snuck into a small hidden place on the roof of one of the nearby buildings he saw a member of Otogekyure talking to some Suna shinobi. He was slowly inching closer when he noticed that the Suna shinobi was one of the Suna teams that had not passed the exams. He got as close as possible and slowly let a little of his blood pool before forming one of his blood clones. After giving the clone the mental order to inform the Hokage he dropped down behind the shinobi in front of him and formed one of the blades of sin. When he got the memories of the Hokage telling him to kill the traitors he suddenly dashed forward and cut through the Suna and Oto shinobi before grabbing one of the Suna genin that had moved. Guess you're gonna be spending some time with Ibiki. Here's a piece of advice, just tell him everything you know. Naruto then used a Chishishin and appeared in front of Ibiki with the prisoner. After dropping the kid off he suddenly took off and appeared around training ground 66. When he got there he noticed that it appeared as if someone had set a volcano off right in the middle. What the fuck happened to my fucking training grounds? So this is where the heir to the Namikaze trains. I guess it's a good thing that my entire team is here then. A female voice said from behind Naruto. He quickly turned around and had his sin blades ready. Ah, so quick to attack me. And here I thought you said you would talk with us. Kuratsuchi said as she slowly walked out from behind a tree. So are you gonna remove your weapons? No way in hell will I remove my weapons. Naruto said as he slowly started to let even more blood leak from his arm and form a field of blood bubbles around him. You are an Iwagakure Kunoichi and I am the sole heir to the Namikaze name and legacy. It would not be safe or smart for me to do so. He saw that Kuratsuchi then held her hands up to show that she was unarmed. I wanted to talk, but you passed out after doing whatever you did to the sand chick. You even missed me almost neutering your friend that uses the Ninken. Naruto laughed his ass off and released the blades before he sat down and laid his back to a nearby tree. He then nodded at her. So what did you want to talk about? What about how you apparently hate the man that is considered a hero here, your father, and one of the strongest shinobi in history? Kuratsuchi asked as she sat down across from Naruto. I'll answer those in order. He is the bastard that caused me to be beaten until I was 6, and the only reason that stopped is because of someone who is in my seal along with the Kyuubi killing my attackers. That night. He was a rapist and a sick disgusting fucker who enjoyed torturing his captives when he didn't need to. As for him being one of the strongest, the Tagala family could kick his ass. Hell, I could kick his ass as I am simply due to the fact that I took his Rasengan and pretty much made it my own by doing what he couldn't and adding an element to it. Do I need to elaborate any further on why I hate? Browse just in community forum beta's story search. Anime/manga/anime/Naruto/anime/Naruto/ Plus. That man with my entire being? Naruto replied, his eyes taking a dark tone when he started talking about his 6th birthday. Kuratsuchi looked at him. But you're the son of the Yondaime? Why would they treat you like that? I am the Jinchuriki for the Biju that killed a good portion of the village and a living reminder of the night. Civilians are also bigoted idiots who don't know shit about sealing. Naruto sighed. Sometimes I was born in another village, a village where Jinchuriki are not treated like the Biju they carry. Sometimes I wish that I could find my father so I could kill him personally. Kuratsuchi just stared at the man who should have been treated like royalty in Konoha, and here he was saying that he wished he could have been born elsewhere and that he wanted to kill the man who her village hated. Why didn't you run away? I couldn't. It wasn't until recently that I wasn't watched by ANBU everywhere I go. Running away would have probably had me grabbed and thrown in a cell until it was time for the fox to be placed in someone else. He looked at her. So what's your story? My grandfather is the Sandaime Tsuchikage and I obviously use Yotan. I also had a person I considered an older brother of sorts before he left the village. His name was Deidara. Kuratsuchi said as she slowly lowered her guard. She knew that he could turn on her at any time, but something was telling her that he wouldn't. Naruto started to get up and held his hand out to Kuratsuchi. Since training is not looking like such a good idea, how about I take you out to a tea shop that my teammate showed me? My treat of course. Oh, is the big bad Namikaze asking the Iwaheim out on a date? Whatever would our leaders think if they saw that? Kuratsuchi teased. Alas, the Sandaime Hokage would act like a pervert. Plus, this is only a date if you want it to be. Iwaheim. Naruto teasingly replied. He laughed as Kuratsuchi blushed. At the Evergreen Tea Shop, Naruto and Kuratsuchi walked into the tea shop and a couple of off-duty ANBU that knew the truth started looking at Naruto like he was crazy, then normal. Kuratsuchi was laughing as Naruto told her of some of the things he did as payback while he was growing up. She would never had believed someone if they had told her that she would one day be sitting and laughing next to the son of the Namikaze that many in Iwa still hated. Naruto was happy, he had acquired a new friend, and the friend was the granddaughter of the current Tsuchikage. Here was a person who was practically royalty in Iwa and she was with the pariah of Konoha, and he was the son of her village's most hated enemy. Yeah, I got a laugh when Irika finally got around to asking Anko out and was stuttering like a shy stalker. He was surprised when I showed up to class the next day and threatened him about treating her right. I mean to be threatened by you while you were in the mindset of attacking anyone who mistreated you and those close to you. Kuratsuchi said, chuckling at the conversation. So this is where Kuratsuchi went. Damn, no wonder Tsuchikage-sama was about to have a heart attack, his granddaughter associating with our enemy. An Iwa Jounin said as he walked into the tea shop. Kuratsuchi-san, your grandfather would like to talk to you. He even asked that the Namikaze boy be present as well. Naruto stood up and stared at the Jounin. Someone close to you was killed by my father, weren't they? Yes, my older sister when she was a genin. The jounin said. Then I am truly sorry, but I will stand by what I told Kuratsuchi-san. I have no wish to be compared to that bastard of a father of mine. The Iwa jounin was surprised as he led the two towards the hotel where the Tsuchikage was staying. When they reached the room he knocked in a way that only the Tsuchikage would recognize. After hearing the all-clear to come in he led Naruto and Kuratsuchi into the room. The Tsuchikage was a short old man with a bulbous nose that noticed that the boy that was the son of his village's most hated enemy didn't even seem to be nervous. So, boy, are you so confident in your strength that you think you can? No, sir, I don't. Naruto then held out a book to the old Kage. My father's journal, complete with all of his sadistic acts. The book that made me sick to read. Inoki grabbed the book and read through a few pages. His anger started to grow before the entire room was filled with his ki. Boy, are you positive that this is his journal? Naruto nods his head. I will need a bit to think over what I've seen and what you have told me. So why don't you tell me how you are treated like a prince? Naruto scoffs. How can I tell you something that is such a huge lie? Until I was a genin I had to hide behind the guise of a bright orange wearing idiot, otherwise the civilians would have killed me for being too strong of a demon. I was beat until I was 10, which is when I took my first life, a civilian that wanted to kill me in order to have his revenge for killing his wife. Thing was that I never killed a single person before then, they all thought I was the Kyuubi. He then looks right into Inoki's eyes. So tell me, would it have been better had I been born elsewhere? Would I have been treated better if I was a Jinchuriki for somewhere like Iwa? No, you wouldn't have been beaten but you would have been mistreated and untrusted. Inoki said. Alas, this meeting is over. Young Namikaze, if you are ever in rock country then you will be treated as what you should have been treated like here. I will also talk to Hiruzen about an alliance between our villages, under the circumstances that I get to leave a team here and receive a team from here. Naruto bowed and said thanks before he started to head out. As he was walking around he heard a perverted giggle coming from the direction of the hot springs. What the hell, he muttered to himself upon seeing a man with long white hair sitting on a toad writing in a notebook while staring at the women's side of the hot springs. Wait a minute, he fits the description of Jiraiya. So my godfather is a fucking pervert, of fucking course. Naruto then walked over to the man and poked him until he turned around. As Jiraiya was about to start his usual introduction he was slugged and then kicked into a nearby wall. So, the first thing my godfather does when he gets to the village is not check on his godson, but instead watch some women in the hot springs? I wonder what my mother would think. I bet my father would have just let you get away with it. If you haven't guessed yet, Jiraiya-sama, I know my heritage and I will say this, if you ever approach me outside of official reasons I will castrate you and let you bleed out. Naruto then walks away. A few hours later, Jiraiya walked up to Naruto and sat down next to him. He looked around at the ramen stand and noticed that he was getting an evil look from Tucci and Iam. Listen Naruto, I'm sorry about not being here for you growing up. However, I do want to make it up to you. Make any demand and I will carry it out. Teach me the Hiraition. If you want to get back into my life then help me learn that bastard's technique. I'll even forgive you, but only if you do that. Naruto replied. Deal. Meet me in training ground 23 tomorrow. I'll just say that this is the location with the ravine. The next day, training ground 23, Naruto walked upon a sight that slightly shocked him. Jiraiya was meditating and had an almost serious aura surrounding him. When Naruto was 15 feet away from the Sannin, Jiraiya opened his eyes and stared at Naruto. Do you have a summoning contract? Jiraiya asked curiously. Yes, the crow summoning. I got it from Natsuki. Naruto replied as he stood in front of the elder man. Have you summoned the boss personally yet? No, I have not had such time, and Natsuki warned me against summoning the boss for anything less than an emergency. Well, could you come over here for a second? Before I help you learn the Hiration, I must know that you can at least summon a boss-level summon without getting too tired. So in that intention, I apologize. In advance. Jiraiya states as he pushes Naruto down the chasm. About halfway down the chasm. So first I'm gonna kill Jiraiya. Then I'm gonna resurrect him. Finally I will castrate him. Naruto thought as he calmly fell down the chasm. He looked down and saw a distortion in the air that appeared to spiral. Any thoughts on what I'm seeing, especially since we're heading right for it? Naruto asked the spirits in his mind. A deep voice that Naruto hadn't heard before sighed. That is a dimensional rift to another reality, or dimension if you will. It is also a time-distorting rift, meaning that when or if you ever come back from there, it will still be within the time that you disappeared into it. As Naruto headed towards the rift, he just grinned before twirling in midair and dropping through the portal, grinning the entire time. From here on till I say we are in the AU mentioned at the beginning of the chapter. Wutai Front. Sephiroth, while planning on killing Giles, saw what appeared to be a meteor slowly falling down to Earth. As he noticed Zack walk up to him, he pointed to Cloud and Giles. You three are coming with too. Check that out, if you refuse I will stab you. The four eventually arrived to see what appeared to be a Cloud clone with whisker marks. Son of a fucking bitch, that hurt like a motherfucker. The person said as he slowly walked out of the crater to see the three people and one idiot that was looking at him strange. The oddest thing was that the blonde looked a lot like he would have if not for the random streaks of red and black in his hair. The other one had dark hair and a sword that could rival Zabuza's blade. He looked at the next person and suddenly his hairs went on end and he slowly drew one of his many swords, this one being his Nodachi Form of Samahata. Who are you people and where am I exactly? Sephiroth stared at the kid and noticed that he had weapons usually associated with ninja, meaning the kid was more than likely a Wutai spy. My name is General Sephiroth, this is General Zack, Cloud, and Giles. This is the Wutai Front. Naruto watched as the man in the bondage clothes pointed at each person. He slowly relaxed his stance and sealed Samahata back in the seal on his arm. My name is Naruto. I guess you could say that I am from another dimension. If you want to know more then you will have to feed me. Sephiroth nodded before staring at Giles. You will not be cooking. I refuse to have a person who possibly helped me kill Shinra the Elder die due to your food. At the camp. Naruto sighed as he noticed how the people looked at him. He was getting sick of the glares. At one point a man stepped in front of him and asked if he had been experimented on by Hojo. Naruto replied with a negative and continued on. Zack yelled out that they were ordering pizza. Everyone pitched in except Naruto, who didn't have any of the currency. He explained to Sephiroth and Zack about what his dimension was like and how he had a giant fox demon sealed inside of him that helped him out in combat. He learned about the planet, the lifestream, Mako, materia, and about the soldier program from Sephiroth. He learned about the geography and different groups from Zack. Naruto eventually got some of the pizza and decided that he would join the army, if only until he found out how to get home. One assassination attempt later. Naruto was sitting at a bar next to a short green creature with a knife listening to him telling him about failing to kill Kakashi, not pervert Kakashi, read this army life to know more. Naruto wondered if he could kill him. Naruto and Tunberry sat next to each other every day at the bar. Giles walked in. Message sir. He handed Naruto the message and ran when Naruto glared at him. Flashback. Giles, I want ramen. Naruto said to the poor idiot. Got it sir. Giles replied, before leaving the tent. A few hours later he came back with a bowl of what appeared to be tentacles. Marlboro ramen. The sound of inhuman screaming coming from Giles helped many of the soldiers go to sleep that night. Flashback end. Naruto looked over the message and sighed. Damn, looks like I have to go to Midgar with Sephiroth and Zack. Thank you for watching the video, and comment down below if you want to see the next part. And of course, like, subscribe and turn on post notifications, and I'll see you in the next video.